The fact that you saw that KJ was the one person here and he ran away means that this is their weak side. So you can pretty much take control of this entire space because you fought for it, you scared him away, and now you can keep in this space. So they're pressured to either fight you back or push towards B main slash mid. You giving up this space loses you that info. So the fact that fought for this and then went back, now you don't know whether they're re-clearing A main, whether they're gonna speed up mid or they're going to speed up B. But if you had kept this space, it would have limited their options specifically because you would have control of this side of the map. And then based off sound info or actually seeing people, agents such as Killjoy or like their initiator duelist, Gecko here, along with the Killjoy, that would mean their team is leading towards an A hit. Whereas if you saw just KG again, that means their team is still stacked towards this side of the map. That's another thing I should mention. Just knowing which agents you see can tell you a lot about what the team wants to do, either at the start of the round or at the end of the round. So like right here, if you had Fa A, right? If you had Fa A saw the Raze, Gecko, and Jet, that would indicate they were going for an A push. But like I said, since you only saw Killjoy here, that means the Killjoy is lurking and the team is stacked towards this side of the map. Especially, that's solidified, especially when like you push away the Killjoy and then he gets scared and runs away this way because he knows he's alone and he can't take this 3v1 fight because you're pressuring him. Sometimes it's just better to fight. Whenever you're like anchoring a site or helping to stall a push, it's always good to double up with their teammate or play in a spot where you can play off. Since there's no way they could be in this area, I'm practically safe, right? I'd just be staring at my map and seeing what these two teammates are doing, trying to communicate for them if they're doing a dumb play. So like if I see my Raze running in this way alone when I have Yoru ult, I'll tell him, yo, Raze, 5v3, let's play numbers. I have your ult for retake. Whereas what he's doing right now, if they're actually out and flooded onto site, this is completely throw by him. Like your ranked is also, you have to have like special skills. It's like you can't just be good at the game. You also have to babysit your teammates. So in a non-aggressive, like passive way, you should try to tell your Raze that you have ult and then you can play retake and that he shouldn't like do that. What I would say if I TP'd, 5v3, let's play numbers. I have ultimate free take. Those are the exact words I'd say if I were in your situation after getting two and then TPing out. So it could put into this Raze's head not to make this play that he's doing where he just runs out and potentially loses the round by giving ones. If I load into this game and see this comp, the things I would have in my mind are no info. That's a negative. Positive is that we have a strong defense. So I'd weigh those positives and negatives and try to determine a way in which we could make up for one or the other in a different way. So if you have a strong defense, you can make up for no info by fighting for space at the beginning of the round, having your strong defense handle the areas where you're not fighting. There's a lot of things you can just based off the team comps determine. So if you put me like I'm at least immortal skill level, if you put me in gold, I have the skill to go back to immortal, but I got placed silver. Let's put that in here. On an alt account that I leveled up and that I played my regular comp games, I got placed silver. That does not mean I'm a silver player. It just means I got placed that rank. The game gave me a badge of silver, but my innate skill level is still well above silver. Even if I have a bad game in silver, even if I can't get kills in silver, I am still able to compete in Immortal. Ranking up comes with improvement, but you need to do the improving first, and then you can rank up. I made this disclaimer in the video I posted about my warm-up routine. Warm-up routines are all like personal preference, they're subjective. You shouldn't copy someone else's warm-up routine because they said that it's a good warm-up routine. You should try to over time find one that works for you, that improves your aim and that you're comfortable doing with in the amount of time that you have. So like if you only have like an hour to say play a Valorant game, then you can only do a 5 minute warm up and like play for the rest of the time one game. But if like you're in high school or like middle school and you have all day every day to play the game, you can warm up for at least an hour before going into the game. So you should tailor your warm up specifically to the amount of time and the amount of effort you are willing to put into the game to improve. One thing I'd say about getting pinched, so say I'm Killjoy playing B side, I'm right here, right? If I'm getting B split, if I'm getting flooded from heaven and from B in, the only thing you can do, you're gonna die regardless, but the only thing you can do to increase your chances of winning the round is fight. You have to fight one side, either B main and be hidden from heaven. So like I'd go into this pillar area and fight B main, or you could go this way and then fight heaven. But the only choice you have is to fight because you're gonna die anyway. You're getting pinched from two angles. You just fight one side. Here you were a bit indecisive or like unaware of what to do. You see this jet, like you can see it on the map. This jet is over there. You see him kill your Sage. He's likely gonna go around this side, and then there's also people flooding from this side. Take a fight. I'd take this fight right here since it's only jet and the people we main haven't come out yet. But even then, you put yourself in a bad position where that pinch is able to happen. You're able to get like flooded from this side while also getting shot from that side. Since they don't have an omen, this satchel play is such a bad play by them unless they're supporting it with like a gecko blind, which I doubt they're doing. This should be easily punishable by your omen. If they don't have a comp that is able to take ramps control and this Raze just satching on by himself, that's a free kill. You can double up with Omen, wait for him, hold for him, while he's satcheling, shoot him out of the sky. That should be an easy 5v4. Greed. I get greedy a lot too. This first pick right here is big. You're even whiffing, but you get the pick right here, just press E. Just press E. I also would have shot the wingman before pressing E, but just press E, get out. You have ult for retake, get yourself out. It would make it a 5v4 retake with you having your ult. It makes it so much easier. The fact that you went for the second guy and whiffed on him too, and then died, that just like all the value you have on you with this is just lost. A good rule of thumb, if you're not playing a sentinel, if you're playing a duelist, getting one and getting out and then playing retake with the rest of the team if all of your team is alive is much better than going for two and dying. That rule, going for two and then dying, is only useful for sentinels since they're usually solo anchoring a site. Playing something like Reyna, Jet, Yoru, maybe even Omen, getting one is enough. Getting one and getting out is enough. I would tell my team to make noise for me. That right now they're just walking up B and there's no pressure A. So these guys on A are guessing whether someone hid behind that flash. Whereas if your team was running it down, making noise, it'd be a lot easier for you to lurk up after this flash because that flash gives them false info that no one's there, especially when your team is running it down on the other side of the map. Not necessarily like running into B, but just making noise around this area, like footsteps, would make your lurk a lot easier. Try to tell your team to make noise for you. So like after that flash, Gecko flashes, gets nothing. If your team was making noise, it would be such a good timing to just walk up right now. It's a lot of mind games. You gotta get into the enemy team's head and think what they're thinking. If I was Gecko on the enemy team and I flashed A main, got nothing, and I heard my teammates saying that it's B or that they're running down B, I would be inclined to think that no one's in A main. So I'd just be like, there's no one A main. I can rotate. But the fact that your team is not making noise and you're also not making noise, it keeps me thinking. So like if I'm the Gecko, I'm like, I flashed A main, but I don't hear anything else on the other side of the map. So it could just be walking up A, hiding behind my flash. So like it gets them thinking. If I'm in their shoes, it gets me thinking, and it makes it harder to lurk. The first timing would have been here, if your teammates were running. Now, the second timing that you could have taken, at this point, yeah, you could send the crash back towards respawn just to as a safety net to get out. And you did well. You went after they made turret, but it was a bit too early. It should have been a bit later because there's a delay. So if I'm Gecko and I see this turret broken, there's a delay between that turret being broken and me looking at the map or having comms from my teammates that the turret is being broken. And after a bit, I'm able to be like, oh, turret's being broken, and then I go. But you do it immediately after the turret's broken. So I'd suggest like waiting a bit. After they're breaking the turret, they continue to cut noise and they're walking. I can see it on the map. They're not making any noise for you. It makes your lurk harder if your teammate is not applying pressure on the other side of the map. So I would tell them, you guys, can you make noise for me so I can lurk up A? I'll call you back over. The fact that they're not making noise, like you understand it too, it stalls you. Like it puts a barrier across here because someone could be watching like the cross since no noise is being made. But I guarantee if your team was making noise, you'd be able to walk in here with like less pressure on you. Like at this point, I would tell my team to continue making noise and then I would actually just go walk up ramps. I wouldn't be scared of it. That's a timing that could be made based on what your team is doing. You should ask your team to do things that put you in a better position. So instead of giving them options, you're in a position where you have game sense that's better than the typical diamond. So you should be asking for ways in which you can like IGL them into giving you a better play or like setting you up because right now they don't really understand what's being done. So instead of asking, are you loud or quiet? I would ask, can you guys make noise for me so I can lurk up? Putting that extra directive into them to like choose a certain option rather than asking what they're doing, like direct them into doing something. Duelists are not supposed to entry. They are supposed to make space for the team. That is their role. The role of a duelist is to create space for your team. It's not to entry, particularly to entry. You can create space in multiple ways. You don't have to entry to create space, but particularly on Jet, Raze, Neon, these are dive duelists that can create space by entering because they have the utility to just run in there, disrupt enemy formation or whatever. They're able to do that with their util. Like their entering is the way that they make space. But for duelists like Reina, Yoru, I forgot the duelist, but these two specifically, Reina and Yoru, their kit allows them to lurk because specifically for Reina, Reina does not have Reina and Yoru, like it's established that they're allowed to lurk because Reina has no movement util and Yoru is able to regroup with the team right away after the lurk, after getting picks, after applying pressure. Yoru's special. Yoru is like his own category. Like he lurks, but he also applies pressure with his util for your team to lurk. It's like faking a site. It's like Yoru can fake a site all by himself. Well, not all by himself, but like just a few extra pieces of util and just him. So Yoru is a special case, but Reina is allowed to lurk and Yoru is also allowed to lurk just based off. Although it seems like lurking has nothing to do with like teamwork, it's also very team based. Like you wouldn't be able to lurk if your team went with you. In the same way that you're not able to lurk if your team is just walking everywhere, because then the enemy team is going to be guessing where your entire team is. The best lurkers have good teammates that apply pressure in places where they're able to play off of that pressure. It's a skill in the sense that you got to create your timings and know when to lurk up. Look how much space Yoru made just by lurking up. So this is way better than an entry actually, because look what happens. He gets this Gecko, and at this point Gecko is the only one on A site because there was no pressure towards A. There was only pressure towards B and mid. Now A site is free. Like I guarantee that this entire thing right here, this entire thing is free. The only people close to A are either here, or like on this side of the map. So this is way better than an entry. Like in an entry, you have to take fights and what's it called? Win your gunfights. Creating space by lurking, it's a lot easier to take the site, and then you also have free utility in the post to use. Whereas in the entry example, you have to use that utility to take the site, and then you don't have it for post. So right now, he creates space by taking the entire A site by himself using nothing, no util at all. And now him and his team have the A site for free, and they have full utility for post plant. It's not like black and white. It's not you can lurk, you can't lurk. They can lurk, but they're much more useful entering because they have movement utility. Whereas dive duelists shouldn't lurk. I wouldn't say that either. I'd say that dive duelists should entry more than they should lurk. Because here's the thing, like once you get into like a very, very high elo gameplay, like pro play, um, teams use that knowledge. So like it's the thing I was saying about seeing which agent you see. If you see a Raze in a Gecko, that's their dive duelist and that's their initiator, which indicates that the team is pushing that site. So like if you see this combo in pro play towards a certain site, that means that team is inclined to push that site. But further, it's all just a mind game. If I show my Raze and initiator towards a site, I can make the other team think that I'm pushing that site, when in reality I'm only showing these two because I want to fake the site. It's a lot of just getting in each other's head and understanding what the other person is thinking and then like making reads off of it or trying to trick them. It's just a lot of that. So I wouldn't necessarily say that dive duelists are 100% shouldn't lurk at all because it's the right way to play the game, but because of the rank you're in, you won't be able to utilize it to its full advantage. Just the same way I said that it's good information to have. Like it's the quote unquote correct way to play the game. But the people in your elo don't allow you to utilize it to its full extent. Like the example I gave of retaking A on Ascent if you have KJL and it being free, whereas in Gold they don't understand that they have a KJL for retake in the first place. So I should learn it, but just not use it already. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd say. I mean, you can use some of it if the enemy team indicates that they're like, sorry. Here's what I'd say. Learn it, try it out in your games, use it until it stops working, and then keep it in mind that why it didn't work. Did it not work because he's just being dumb and doing something?
Flashing high on your right. Smoking. Put up. Dead.
Good entry. See, in the same way that he created space by lurking, he also created space by entering. It's not entering that's the role of the duelist, it's the creating space. Entering is just a way to do that. One thing I'd say about like a combination of ults, so you also have a raise ult and then you have Kedge ult. So either way, you have two ults, but you can use them in a way, like you can subsequently in a way which helps you win the round in a more favorable. So it's fine that you used the KG ult for entry, but I would also communicate that you have the raise ult for post if you need it. But in the first place, I always prefer using this ult for entry and then this ult for post, because once you get the bomb down, once you get plant down, your goal is to delay the time enough that they don't have time to defuse it. If you had used the raise ult for entry, you get the same effect of taking the site and potentially getting a kill. And then you had the KJ ult for post, which not only does it stall for 10 seconds, it also pushes them back into areas where they have to retake the site, and that's extra time stalled. In my personal opinion, it's better to use this ult for post and this ult for entry instead of using this ult for entry and this ult for post. Other people could argue differently, but I just think that it's better to use this to entry and then use this for post. But in the way that you did use it, you could use this for entry, but just be aware that you also have the raise ult for post. Like this is a great VOD. This is a great VOD to review because it brings out all the little mistakes and how they cause your deaths. And it exemplifies, like if you make a mistake, it's easier to point it out because you die because you made the mistake, because it's such a close game and every little action matters. So like I'm not gonna review your teammates gameplay, but I guess I will. This matters. Omen smoking this early, it matters because by the time you guys go out, it's gonna expire since you're KG ulting in as well. But since I'm not VOD reviewing the Omen, I'll just ignore it for now. But I'm just saying that this little decision to smoke this early before the KG ult is even down could cost you the round because it's 8-9. This is a super close game. Every little thing matters. This Omen could be the reason you lost the round here because he smoked too early. Because look, he has smokes down, but in 10 seconds, these smokes are expiring. So look, the smoke is gone, and now your team has to look. You're this is a result. This is a result of what happened earlier in the round here. Because it's such a close game, it matters. Because of this, like little things like this cause things like this. Even you too. Even you too. This is your Omen's fault. It's not even your fault. Cause he smokes too early that smokes are down by the time you actually commit the site, and now they have an easier retake because they can see you in every single angle. But like it's little things like that that truly matter, and like the mistakes get exaggerated because it's such a close game. Yeah, you're too smart for your elo. Is it alright if I smoke mid side for us to take space more easily? That's a very common thing to do. Common thing to do on ecos. Only, I wouldn't say only. It's specific case scenario. So a lot of teams they do this smoke here. Not teams, yeah, teams and in Radiant they do this smoke here if they're defending and they're on eco. So anyone playing here it's easier for them to get out. It's easier for them to play in the smoke. Like stinger spam them. Yeah, for short range, exactly. Generally, you should not be giving up that much space by smoking close sight if you have long range guns, especially if they are on eco. It's just specific use case scenarios. I wouldn't be able to give you a general answer. Different pieces of utility, different pieces of ultimate apply different amounts of pressure. Let's just call it stress. They apply different amounts of stress on the enemy team. This thing right here, this is a whole ass bazooka. It's a rocket launcher. I guarantee if you were to hear, here comes the party, everyone here would run away towards CT, or like it pulled the rotates from B into A because they hear the party is coming on A. That result applies so much stress on the enemy team. So one thing I would call for if we had a result is a fake. You could have Raze ult, you and Raze basically fake for your team to walk up B. Actually, ideally, if KJ is playing B, you would want to fake the site that the Sentinel is on. So like if KJ is playing B, if there's a turret here, you would want to fake B, the thing I'm talking about, because it's harder to lurk on a site where the Sentinel is playing because they have utility to see you or spot you or get info about you without actually like fighting you. So that's another thing I'd mention. But just because we have this result, one I'd like to see you call for, or I'd like to call for, is a fake with this and a fake with just you, your clone, and a flash or two. Because again, the different pieces of util like apply different amounts of stress on the enemy team to make a decision or to like pull rotates over. This bazooka thing and something like diamond, I guarantee it pulls rotates over pretty quickly when they hear that ultimate line. So it should be a free B site if Cage is not playing there for your team with you and Race faking a site. Right now you went fast B didn't work. Now you're going fast A. That's pretty predictable. So something to switch it up would be faking B or faking A, just based on what you've been doing. It's pretty hard to do in the moment. Like I've found trouble doing it in game. Like in a VOD review, it's much easier to point out. But that's the importance of like VOD reviews. You realize it in the VOD and then you make sure you don't do it the next time. And the other thing I mentioned, your one off. It's always good to like notice what's it called. So like you're pressing tab, right? See how it's 6 out of 7? It's good to notice that. You can say that, oh, I'm one off alt. Let's go get my alt and then go do something with it. Just looking at like those numbers can help and creating a plan to win you the round. So if I were in your shoes right here, if I were in this game, if it's 8-11, they have KGL, they have Razor, we have Razor, we're one off your alt. Again, I would call him a fake. I'd say, hey, let's go get my alt and B main. Raze, come with me. Let's fake the B bomb site. Killjoy, Omen, Sage, can you guys walk up A after we actually get onto the site? What I'd tell my race to do is to be okay. This might get me bomb or banned, but like raise be the I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to get banned. I'm allowed to say it because I'm of the ethnicity, but I'd like tell Race to just go in there, alt in off my alt. So like I'd get B main or I'd go in, find the person for him, and then Race could alt them off of me, like based on what I'm seeing. And that's such a good fake. There's no way that these guys on A will not rotate over based on that much pressure. You're raise ulting in, you're ulting in, you're killing a guy with the raise ult ideally, and then you could have a TP towards A, TP there in your ult, and then entry for your team again on A while they're like lurking up and the rotates are pulled over. That would be like such a good play here. It I guarantee it would win you this round if you made this play here. But just like so like you have a fundamental understanding of Tetris. Like you know this block goes with the square block and then like there's the L block. Like you know like basically what things do and what's supposed to be done with certain ults. But there's like an advanced level of there's a higher level of knowledge that you could incorporate into it to make yourself better at Tetris, I'd say. Like knowing that you can flip this one over and like put it like this somehow or something like that. I don't know how to play Tetris. That's a very bad analogy, but another thing. I can't believe I forgot to mention this because I say it every single time in my games, but nobody listens. You see, they have these ults. You cannot play site. You either have to take space or play off site once you get bombed down. Once you realize they have these ults, you should know that it's going to be pretty hard for you to hold the sites because they're going to use them on retake if they're smart enough. The same way that you guys used your KG ult for retake. But just in general, if they have retake ults, you need to either fight for space or play off in a way which you have util to delay the bomb being diffused. I wouldn't say it's a horrible idea to fight for this KJ ult together as a team or just run away, just leave. You still have ult, you can tell KJ to give you bomb